Hi, I'm Andre and I'm a black nerd. A special shout out to my subscribers. Thanks for coming back to my channel. And a special shout out to my Riverdale fans. It's time once again, RIVERDALE. What the hell, Riverdale? The show is back. Took a couple weeks off. The drama got intense, so it was like, let's take a break. But now it's back. And I have to be honest, the first half of this episode, I was kind of like, this is okay. This is so-so. You know, not bad, but definitely not the type of episode you go, I've been missing you for 2 weeks. You come back with just some regular stuff. Okay, that's fine. And then the second half of the episode, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's the Riverdale I know and love. What the hell, Riverdale? Now, the reason why I was kind of just like the first part of this is okay is because in my personal opinion, a lot of people were making some dumb decisions. And it all started with Polly, Betty, and Veronica's mom. They're talking. As you know from last week's episode, Polly is now living with the Lodges because she can't go home to the Coopers because they want Polly back, but they don't want the baby. And she can't go over to the Blossoms because the Blossoms want the baby, but not Polly. So she's staying in a neutral zone. And then Betty and Veronica have the crazy idea to throw Polly a baby shower. And then Polly wants to invite both her mom and Cheryl Blossom's mom to this baby shower with all their friends. And they're like, well, maybe if they're in the same place publicly, they won't get into an argument. I'm like, have you been watching this show? Anytime those two are together, an argument's gonna happen no matter who's around. Remember that hunting party scene? Come on. You don't put those two in a room together without knowing something's gonna happen. This is why I can't trust Polly. Because Polly was the one that wanted this. And it's just one of these things where either she is just really, really naive, or she has made this ultimate plan and she's playing step by step and she's one of the most brilliant evil geniuses in the world. So you're either really stupid Polly or an evil genius. I guess we'll find out soon enough which one it is. So while the girls are planning this baby shower, Fred Andrews, Archie's dad, is getting ready to start construction on the drive-in land. But the day that he starts, his crew comes in and is like, we out. The Blossoms apparently offered some really lucrative deal for his entire crew and they had to start it immediately, which means they left Fred out to dry. And this is really gonna hurt Fred because his business is already suffering. He's already in the red. So if he doesn't get this project going, he's pretty much done with his business. We get an interesting scene where Fred confronts Mr. Blossom, Cheryl's dad, about this because he's like, what are you doing? Why'd you take my crew? And Cheryl's dad's just like, look, nothing personal, man. It's just, that's my land. The Blossoms built their maple syrup empire on that land, so we want it back. And you know what? You really want that land back, and it's where you started, basically, your maple syrup empire. Methinks there might be some more maple syrup on that land. Is this like oil, but with maple syrup? Like, there's maple syrup in the darn hills. You know, we gotta get that land back so we can get that maple syrup and move to Beverly. But yeah, Cheryl's dad's like, yeah, I want that land back, so I'm gonna destroy anything I can to get it back, bring down the market value of it so I can buy it back and have it for myself. And Fred's like, yeah, but you ruining my business and my child's future as a result of that. And Cheryl's dad's just like, and props to Luke Perry, man. He broke down in one of the scenes in this episode because he's just like, I need this business to work because I tried to make my marriage work. That didn't work out. I tried to make sure that my son grew up to be a good person. Jury's still out on that one. And now if I don't have this business, I basically got nothing. I'm just nothing but a person who likes to do construction. That's all I got. That's the only skill I have. And Archie even helped him out there. He was like, look, Dad, if my son, whenever I have a kid, decides that he doesn't want to do music or sports, but he wants to build houses like you, I'd be very proud of him. Everyone's got their thing to be proud of for a future generation. I thought it was very sweet. And that wasn't it for the Archie sweetness. He's like, I got you, Dad. I'm gonna help you out. So he calls up his boys. He calls up Jughead, Moose, Kevin, some random dude, no Reggie. They all get together and they help out Archie's dad. They work on his construction site with him until he's able to find another crew. So everything's working good. They're able to get through the first day. They're celebrating. Moose goes outside because he left his phone outside that night. And then when he goes outside, he sees two vandals breaking apart the electrical system on the construction site and taking all the power out on the land. And Moose, being dumb Moose, he goes, hey, what's going on here? And those two guys are like, oh, you gonna yell at us? Random's alone person while we got crowbars in our hands? Come here. Me? Nah, your Aunt Tilly, get over here. Whap, whap, whap. And they beat up Moose. And I was like, come on, man. Part of me was like, oh, I'm hurt because old Moose got beat up by these two guys. But the other part of me was like, it's Moose, y'all. In the comic books, nobody could beat Moose. Like, Moose was big. He used to punch anyone out just for looking at his girl. he was bad news. He was great if he was your friend, like Dilton Doily, but if he saw Reggie hanging out with Midge, a punch, you basically close to dead. So I was kind of like, you know, I mean, I get it, they had crowbars and stuff, but you know, it's Moose. Moose should have been able to take him out. I'm sorry, Moose should have been able to throw a punch or two. What is this? What is this nerfed Moose that I see on my show here? Moose got nerfed. No one knows who did it. Of course, they're blaming the Blossoms for it, but Archie feels like it had to have been the Southside Serpent. So he and Kevin and Moose go to a Southside Serpent's bar to find out what happened. They get inside with the help of Kevin's boyfriend, Joaquin, who's one of the Southside Serpents. Good to see Joaquin back again. Joaquin is like, don't cause no trouble, don't make no eye contact, just go in, see if you see the guy that you think did it, and if you see him, then get out. But of course, Archie don't do that. He goes right up to some guy, go, hey, did you beat up Moose? Archie gets flung around, gets almost beat up until someone says, stop, leave him alone, I'll take care of this. Guy walks down the stairs, of course, it's Jughead's dad, but Archie has not known at all at this point that Jughead's dad was a Southside Serpent. He just thought he was a drunk. Jughead's dad calls Archie's dad and is like, pick him up. Get your son, he is gonna get himself in trouble. Jughead's dad's like, hey, you gotta watch out for that boy of yours. And Archie's dad like, yeah, I know. And he turned around, Archie's already gone. He runs all the way back to the baby shower because that's where Jughead is. Because, you know, Jughead gotta help Betty out because they all a couple and everything. Ooh, Bughead. So he's gonna help out with the baby shower. They look so cute together. And then Archie runs up in that baby shower and is like, you didn't tell me? You didn't tell me your dad was a Southside Serpent? And then Jughead freaks out because nobody knew this. So now Betty knows it, Veronica knows it. And he's all like, yeah. So Archie's really upset because he feels like his friend betrayed him. I'm like, Archie, you can't really be throwing out the betrayal card right now. Have we forgotten about July 4th when you're supposed to go hang out with your boy and instead you hung out with some woman making out? That was your teacher? Don't forget that. I think Jughead has a redemption card. A get out of jail free card from you for that incident, mister. But don't worry about that. They have a talk later and everything's fine with those two. They're great. Jughead is living with the Andrews right now. They're playing video games together. They have their little bro talk. At one point, they're all like, you're like a brother to me. And Jughead's like, no, you're my brother. And it's like, oh, bro time. Oh my God, I love you, man. I love you, man. It's guy love. I know it's silly, but I did like that part. I like seeing the little brodom, the broship, the bro-osities of Archie and Jughead at that moment. That was very, very cute. Going back to the baby shower though, everything's going fine. Everyone's there. Veronica's there. Veronica's mom is there. Betty's there. Valerie and Melody are there. Josie is not there. She's like, forget this baby shower. I ain't got time for that drama. And then who burst into the room but Cheryl Blossom with a baby carriage, ready to take the baby home with her like she's already out of the womb. And of course, Cheryl's mom. Everyone's trying to be cool. Cheryl's mom, Betty's mom, like, we're not gonna look at each other. Don't make eye contact. Don't talk to nobody. Everything gonna be all right. I'll be on this side of the room. You be on that side of the room. Not gonna happen. Until them gifts came out. Because Betty's mom gave Polly a nightlight that she used to have as a kid. So she's like, now you can pass that on to your child. Cheryl Blossom's grandma does some like ritual on Polly, like some kind of, you know, a crystal thing, and it's like, oh, you're having twins. And the Blossoms give her this antique rocking horse, and they're like, Polly, we love you, we love the baby, we're so sorry that we tried to separate you two somehow. You know what? We care about you just as much as we care about this child or children. So tell you what, won't you come over to our house? We'll take care of the baby. We'll take care of you. You'll be so welcome in Thornhill. We got your back. You will not want for anything. And that was the trigger point for Betty's mom to be like, I've been quiet all night. Now it's time for me to say something. You gonna come in here with an old rocking horse and take my daughter away? And Cheryl Blossom's mom's like, well, your daughter ain't even living with you right now, so apparently you don't care. You don't want to let her go. And then they get in a fight and everyone's like, oh no, party's over. Gee, I didn't suspect that was ever gonna happen. I'm telling you, Polly, you're either dumb or very, very evilly smart. So Betty, Polly, and Alice are hanging out and talking, and Alice is like, look, I'm sorry, Polly. It was so weird with you coming home pregnant. We made a mistake by taking you to that place, the sister's home. So tell you what, you're welcome here. Come back home. And Polly's like, really? With you and Dad? And she's like, no, you good, you good. She's like, I don't know. You're gonna make me go out on another appointment? And I was like, oh, snap. Yes, apparently before Polly was taken away by Alice to the sister's home, Polly and Betty's dad had a little talk with Polly and was like, look, I got an appointment with you to see a doctor who's gonna take care of your little mistake. and I will pay for it, and then therefore you will not have to worry about any mistakes that you have inside of you. I think we all know what that appointment is gonna be. And on top of that, Alice, Betty and Polly's mom, had no idea that this happened. And when you see her face in this episode when Polly tells her that this happened, I was like, Dad, Betty's dad better run. Hal, get out of the house. Cause sure enough, Alice comes home to Hal and she's like, did you set up an appointment with my daughter without telling me? And then she doesn't even smack him in the face or punch him. She does this weird thing where it's like an open hand slap punch right in the throat, like right in the neck. She's like, ugh, how dare you? And Hal just breaks it down. He's like, yeah, I don't want that child in my house because it's got Blossom blood in it. That's all it is. He is so torn up about this Cooper Blossom feud that he's like, there is no way I'm gonna let a child in this house with Blossom blood. And that's the final straw for Alice. She's like, get out of my house. Get out. Hal's like, I ain't going nowhere. And he's like, listen, you can't have this happen. What will people think? She's like, I don't care what people think. That's my daughter. Get out of my house now. You don't want to mess with me. If I'm angry, I might do something like I regret. And then she says something that I thought was very interesting. She goes, and you should know by now what I am capable of. And I was like, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. But I'll get back to that. Let's cut back over to Jughead and Betty for a second. So Jughead's like, look, Betty, I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this side of me, about my dad and knowing he's with the serpent. I was ashamed about it. And she's like, look, if we're going to do this thing. And I was like, oh, she's actually referring to it as a couple. All right, that's nice, finally. Still think it's gonna crash and burn. But she's like, oh, you know, now that we're, you know, together, you gotta tell me these things. You gotta be open about this with me. However, now that we know that your dad is one of the Southside Serpents, we probably should go and ask him a couple of questions. They go over to Skeet's house, to Forsythe's house, Jughead's dad, and is like, hey, Dad, what's going on? You know, what's the story? And Jughead's dad confirms the story that is true, that Jason did one time try to sell some drugs. They was going to do a drug run for them to get some money so he can get out of the city and eventually have a new life with Polly. So he only did it this one time. That's a PSA for you right there. He only tried to sell drugs or move drugs around one time, and now he's dead. But then after Jughead's dad gives all this information out, he just starts staring at Jughead, very silent, and just goes, anything else you want to ask me? Because he knew what was coming up. He knew what the next question was. And freaking Skeet, he's all like, hey, I'm a messed up dad. I've done some dumb things, but I ain't no killer. And then he just like, that's how he says it too. It's not like I'm not a killer. He's not freaking out. He's just like, I ain't no killer. And I'm like, yes, you are, killer. You're freaking Billy Loomis. I saw you in Scream. Everyone goes a little mad sometimes. That's you. How do I know that you got Billy Loomis in this? This could be a crossover. So it was definitely one of those things where like, all right, maybe Jughead's dad didn't do it, but he clearly knows something. And this episode didn't take 5 minutes before they go, oh yeah, he knows something. Because the next time you see Jughead's dad, he's stuffing Jason Blossom's leather jacket, his sports jacket, inside of a plastic bag. Remember in last week's episode, we saw Jason Blossom's jacket in his closet. Well, he knows it was there. He put it there, and now he wants to hide it. And who's hanging out with him? Joaquin. He's like, look, take this jacket away, put it in safekeeping, hide it, because if we need to use it for insurance, if things get a little crazy, we got this. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on? That means that they might know some more information about what's happening, and they're using this as basically their trump card to get out of jail free card in case somebody comes accusing them for something. They can plant that somewhere or use it as new evidence. I don't know, but something ain't right about that. And then what makes it even crazier, he's like, what's up with you and that Keller kid? You still hanging out? Joaquin's like, yeah, we're still doing it. And then Jughead says like, great, gives us more intel for them. I'm like, whoa. So Joaquin is a setup. He's pretending to like Kevin so they can have more information of what Kevin's dad knows about this whole investigation. This is insane. And then what makes it worse is Joaquin's like, but I think Kevin really likes me, man. I think he really cares about me. And Forsythe's like, oh, you're breaking my heart, kid. Get out of here. Go do your job. Everyone's got to play their part, including me. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And since Fred does not have a crew, Forsythe, out of the kindness of his heart, gets a few of the Southside Serpents, is like, we'll be your construction crew. And Fred's like, what? And Forsythe's like, look, it's not gonna be any trouble. We all on the up and up. We just want to make some money. And if someone comes around here, starts messing with your place, we obviously know how to take care of people like that. So we good. And then Forsythe has a little conversation with Hermione, Veronica's mom, and is like, hey, just so you know, those two guys that came over and messed this place up, they were not Southside Serpents. We did some investigating and we found out there's some out-of-town boys that came from Montreal. And the last person that you and I know that does some work in Montreal happens to be your husband. And she's like, oh my gosh, hire him? These people, that doesn't make any sense. This is his land. And he's like, yeah. Apparently somebody told him about your little relationship with Fred there and found out about your little kissy kiss. And so he wanted to send a little message to stop things. And he's like, apparently somebody ratted you out. I don't know who though. So this thing ends, man, with Betty talking to Polly saying, look, mom threw dad out. She was so upset. You're welcome to come home. We have a place for you now. And the next shot we see is Polly getting out of a taxi and you're all like happy because like, oh man, finally the Cooper's gonna be together. Everything worked out okay. And then they cut across the street and you see a giant gate that says Thornhill. Yep, Polly did not go home to her parents. Even after Alice kicked Hal out of the house, she still went to the Blossoms. I said get out like 50 times. It felt like get out, except with all white people. They're slowly opening the door and they're slowly closing the door with Cheryl's mom looking at them. I'm like, get out! This is, you dead! You dead! Your baby dead! Everybody dead! Get out of the house! The house is evil. Oh my gosh, that just drove me crazy. So again, I'm like, is this evil genius Polly? Because she basically got her parents who took her away, who sent her away to split up and then still went over to the Blossoms' house at the end of it all. That's crazy, yo. Again, Polly is either really stupid or an evil genius. And I can't wait to find out which one. There's something about Polly. She always just drops information down at the right moment to keep things going. You can't just be naive doing that. There's something extra. Second half definitely brought the energy on this one, man. That was good stuff. That was some good stuff at the end. I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You keep bringing it. And then next week, man, that preview, what is going on? Apparently the Blossoms are having some sort of family celebration and Cheryl decides to ask Archie out. They trying to just keep those redheads all together, huh? So what did you guys think about this episode? What do you think Jughead's dad knows? How involved do you think he is with all this Jason Blossom murder business? Who do you think ratted Hermione out? Was it Veronica or someone else? And do you think Polly Cooper is naive or an evil genius? Thank you for watching this episode of RIVERDALE. If you missed some of the other ones, you can check out my entire playlist. I have every episode recapped on this channel for you. And I also make other fun videos, so if you're new here, please subscribe to my channel so you can see all the videos I make. Also ring that bell so you can be notified of future videos that I make. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Addy 5000, Chain Chomp Yomp.